Assassin's Creed Valhalla is an Assassin's Creed video game. It's pretty if you don't look too closely, and even though it's a fun romp, you can play the entirety of the game like this, since the game offers up as much resistance as warm butter. At its core, Valhalla is a video game experience the color beige.
My favorite color is beige and my dream is to be an accountant. Oh good.
But what if I told you Valhalla had some really good parts to it? Aspects that, if leaned into and combined in a fresh way, could have made Valhalla truly great. Even, dare I say, the new benchmark for the big map with icons genre. Here's what those good parts are. First, the Order of the Ancients. Since this is an Assassin's Creed, there's gotta be an overarching cabal of Illuminati Doombringers pulling the strings in the background. In Valhalla, it's the Order, the network of anti-assassin Templars the Assassins have been fighting for like millions of years or some bullshit. They've got codenames like the Scabbard, or the Compass, or the Boulder, and they're scattered all over whatever land each respective Assassin's Creed game is set in. They're the real meat behind Valhalla's story, the main attraction that slowly overtakes the Raven Clan's story of finding a new home in a hostile land. Toward the beginning of the game, you're given a veiled map of the Order's members, with no obvious means of how to unearth their identities, but gradually you find clues in the form of whispers, plot points, or scraps of paper that I never actually need to read, and by these elements' combination, identities begin to be uncovered. And you, being an assassin, can go fuck them up and steal their precious clubhouse medallion. The Order is a piece of the Valhalla fabric that I think works really well, especially given the overall texture of the franchise leaning into conspiracy theories and secret sects, and all that garbage you hear about from your racist uncle who's on Parler. Some reveals of Order members are very plot-driven and are metered out at an even clip, but the lower tier guys, maybe you've only got one clue to their whereabouts, or you've got a friend of a friend that might maybe know what province they operate in, and you've got to go a sleuthin' to find out more. Hunting these lieutenants, here's where the Order stuff kind of falters. Assassin's Creed has this weird duality in regards to what it asks of the player. Most stuff it just tells you, no thinking necessary on your part. Go to this icon, kill this glowing dude, done. But Order members, the game doesn't tell you exactly what you're looking for. You've only got a hint as to what town they live in, and you have to go there and actually search around for a scrap of paper that might lead you to their identity. The visual design, though, doesn't lend itself to the discovery of these objects without the use of your hollow pulse eagle bullshit vision, so you're running around this little ramshackle village spamming your eagle eye, rummaging through the villagers' shit until you find this clue that reveals another morsel about who this Order member is and where they're located. I don't know, Assassin's Creed's visual design and the contrast between the world and the value that world has to you as a player are a real problem, but that you've got to go find clues yourself, I like that. Even if it is just another manifestation of the eternal seesaw the franchise is doing between beautiful, realized historical locales and trash open world mission design. Regardless, on the whole, the Order is one of those good elements. Order members, the zealots wandering around, those are awesome and fun and worth catering the overall experience around. Keep that in mind as we take a look at the second good bit of Valhalla. Assassin's Creed Valhalla's episodic arcs mostly play out like you'd expect. Go to a new land that's slightly more hostile than the last, hit a couple synchronizations, do a few missions, perform an end of arc raid, and boom, fealty pledged. But there's one region unlike any of the others, one where I actually sat up in my seat a bit when I got there because it was new and different enough that I didn't know what was going to happen next. Vinland. Light spoilers ahead, but nothing too crazy, and who cares about Assassin's Creed spoilers anyway? Vinland. I actually really like this part of the game. Here's a bit of background. You've gotten word that Gorm, one of the main antagonists that drove you out of Norway in the first place, has set up a prison camp in a new land called Vinland. Vinland is a month's journey away, across vast waters and ice bridges. Since it's a prison colony, you can't take any of your weapons or gear, and you must arrive on the shore dressed like a fellow prisoner. It takes like 2 seconds to break out of this prison, so quickly you, the player, realize you're not confined to just a prison island at all. You've actually landed in pre-colonial North America. The terrain is different. The people living in the nearby settlements, they speak a language you don't understand. In Gorm, the game hints that he's in a faraway fort too difficult for you to infiltrate yet. To grow your strength, you need to raid other, more manageable bandit camps, gather precious resources, and use those resources to tailor your playstyle in Vinland. Do you buy a club or a bow? Or maybe save up for a set of armor instead? This section of Valhalla is great at doing away with the power creep that is so present in the franchise, especially the newer games with their insistence on being RPG-light affairs. For the most part, you don't need to worry about cracks in the faux realistic facade. Your headshots not killing guards, stabbing someone with a sword not having any effect because they've got a little red skull by their health bar. It's an even playing field, which is great, and that goes for Eivor as well. Without your set of armor, you feel squishy. vulnerable. Playing this section, even if I didn't really have to, I leaned into the stealthy aspects of the gameplay. Assassinating guards, hiding their bodies. You know, those reasons people bought into Assassin's Creed all those years ago in the first place. Now, unfortunately, this whole veneer quickly crumbles because I've got my hidden blade, and I can hit the auto-assassination quicktime event. Most of the time. I took out a couple guards, snuck up to Gorm, ganked him, and then I was done with Vinland. Sure, there were still treasure chests to loot and world events to complete, but unless you're the most diehard of open world icon collectors, your purpose for being in Vinland was finished. So you left, and you only ever went back to take video captures of your time there because your first ones turned out shitty. Let's put these two ingredients together. Imagine if Vinland had been the start of the game. Alone, you sail to the shores of a new land. No possessions, no identity. You've got a singular goal, taking out the guy at the top. But quickly you're taken prisoner, injured, and your boat is seized. You need to make inroads with the prison population, improve your ability to lie, gather supplies, survey your surroundings, and eventually, after you've recuperated, break out of the prison compound. Then solidify your foothold in the land and with its people, who you can't even speak with at the start, all in the name of taking out the guy who killed your family or whatever. That'd be really cool, right? A little bit Hitman, a little bit Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay, maybe a skosh of Shadow of Mordor, but on the grander scale that Assassin's Creed invariably leans toward. You've got to craft or purchase weapons, and the choices you make affect your playstyle. Do you have your prison fence fashion this piece of strong wood into a club? Or a bow? This bit of metal into a shank, a lockpick? Or is it the startings to a set of expensive makeshift armor? And that injury you sustained, it lingers a bit. You used to be an avid climber, but you've got to regain your stamina. And until you do, you've got to actually plan your climbing routes to navigate the terrain. Shoot, you could add, say, a stamina bar so the climbing has a progression mechanic attached to it as you further regain your strength. Oh, what's that? Valhalla already has a stamina bar, but they don't use it for climbing? Huh. So you've got the setting and framework of Vinland, but you've also got the order. The guy you're after, he's at the top, and situated all over this new land are his lieutenants, his zealots. Maybe you know who they are, or maybe you don't, but by a guerrilla-style approach you can uncover their identities and enact their downfall. Maybe you know one of these lieutenants is going to be at the docks around midnight, so you hide there and wait for his arrival. He shows up, and you now know who he is, but his guards, they're seasoned warriors. And since you've catered your skills into a more stealthy approach instead of melee combat, the guards can kill you in a flash, so you better not show yourself. Not yet. This mission was about assessing the lieutenant's identity, but it wasn't the game that shoehorned you into that. That was all you and the choices you made in honing your character. By this gradual progression, you root out the order in a satisfying, open-ended manner. Sure, the combat would need some retooling to be more tactile, less animation-driven. As well, there would need to be some serious consequences to your actions and the paths you choose, something I know the Assassin's Creed games shy away from. You also don't need to be a world-beating assassin who brushes shoulders with every historical figure of import in a given time period. Maybe you're just a regular assassin on your first real mission, but you've got some stakes in the game that make it really personal. That would be a wonderful spin on the Ubisoft formula. It'd just be you, vulnerable, alone, and in a new land, up against the nigh unbeatable Kingpin. Oh fuck, that's Far Cry.